All right, you guys, I have switched up my camera situation here. Hopefully we do a little bit better. I am still on the same phones. I am at a 1.2 on my Pixel and my normal camera settings here on the TikTok camera, but I've switched the stand that they're on. So hopefully we don't have the wibbly wobbly thing that we had going on, and the ring light is actually a little bit further back. I'm going to try to remember, hopefully, to speak a little louder. It is oh goodness, is Wednesday, May 21st at about 11:30 a.m. and we are going to reach 91 degrees today. So I do have my little fan all the way up, and I did notice when I was editing yesterday that it is quite loud on the video, so I'm gonna have to speak over it. I cannot turn it down or I will absolutely be dealing with the heat a little bit much. So I am running a little behind because of having to reset the cameras. So today's theme is actually going to be doing makeup to deal with the heat. So I have done my cleansing, but I have not done anything else. So I'm going to show you how I plan to do heat sensitive makeup. It is hit or miss sometimes depending on how well I put it on, but let's see what I can do in a time crunch. So I am starting with my usual moisturizer. This is the St. Ives Clear Skin 3-in-1 SPF moisturizer. I'm going to do a thin layer, just about that much will do ya. I'm going to spread this out all over my face and neck, including the ears. Always get the ears and down past the chins onto the neck and a little bit into the chest. Because of the heat, I am not doing this in the shirt I intend to wear for the day. I am heading out to Hanford to meet my new gastroenterologist. We are going to be addressing all the issues that I was having back in February, seeing if the preliminary diagnosis that I have at this point of the cyclical vomiting syndrome is correct. I do not think I'm going to walk out with an actual diagnosis, but we'll see if we are heading in the right direction and see if he wants to order tests or not. I kind of have a gut feeling that we are going to end up with a bevy of tests ordered, probably an endo if nothing else, but we shall see. I imagine he'll probably pull, or at least attempt to pull, the scans that we had done in the ER, but we'll see. All right, so that is pretty much incorporated. And now here's the step that's a little bit different. We are gonna go in with some face antiperspirant. Yes, if you didn't know, this is a thing. I learned about it while watching Drag Queens. So this is the Neat 3B Face Saver Gel Facial Antiperspirant. And this is gonna be at a crucial step. Ooh, need to wipe that top off a little bit like that. And you want to get a very thin layer. This is not a more is more thing, this is a less is more. So we're just going to do a very teeny tiny dab there like that. And I'm sandwiching this in between my moisturizer and SPF layers. So just very thinly layer this over the face. This is not one of those things I'm going to take down over the rest of my, ears and neck and chin and all that. I'm just going to put it where I need it, which is going to be the face. And I'm going to focus it into the areas that I really have the most issues, which is around my nose, under here on my chin, and on the forehead. Just make sure that's really thinned out like that. It is a little tacky, which is going to be nice for adhering to the next step. And that's going to be our Elastin Skincare Hydrant Pro Mineral Sunscreen. Now, this was a gift from a friend, and I don't think I've used it since I've started filming specifically for YouTube. And so I'm going to give this just 1.5 little pumps of this, and this I'm going to spread out again in a thin layer, and this one is going to go down and over the rest of the face and neck. And this just gives us a sandwiching of that antiperspirant layer, and this one does give a little bit of color before we go in with our next step. And there's our lovely little warning from my camera that's saying it is too hot. I know, camera, me too. If I didn't have to film at this time, I wouldn't, but it is what it is. I always feel more pressure when I'm going to meet a new doctor. The basis of this channel is the idea that you don't have to look sick to be taken seriously, and you also don't have to try too hard, but there is still that pressure, whenever I meet a new doctor, I kind of have to, I feel like I have to walk that line, but I don't want to. I want to feel like I can do whatever I want, but there is that sort of internalized pressure there. But I'm going to go for what I feel comfortable in, and then the hell with what anyone else thinks. So the next step is actually going to be finding the correct concealer. If you know, you know. And then moving on. To our next step. I'm going to blend this in with one of our soft sponges that I'm going to get wet with our She Glam Matte Fresh Setting Spray. And this is our e.l.f. 16-Hour Camo Concealer correcting, and this is in the shade Fresh Peach or something, light peach maybe. And this is just gonna give us a light layer of coverage and sort of brighten up the areas in our T-zone, just to give a little contrast to the rest of the face. And I'm not too worried about this step because for that extra bit of oomph and grip and coverage, I am going to be going in with our powder. I'm still getting that contrast in the TikTok camera. I just don't know why that is. I thought changing up the configuration of the cameras and the lighting and stuff would change that, but it's just not. Oh well, it'll just be a running joke, I guess. But as I was saying, I'm going to be going in with a powder foundation, and that's why I haven't done an actual liquid foundation or anything yet. We went in with a tinted sunscreen and right into some concealer. All right, now I'm gonna go in with my actual shade match, which is shade 120 in the Maybelline Superstay 24-hour hybrid powder. And I'm just gonna take a nice fluffy brush like this, and I'm gonna go all over my face, my ears, my neck, and all of these nice chins with a light setting layer. I'm gonna go ahead and point it out. I have had the worst time with my skin lately. So if you see those little blemishes, know that even at 43, it's still gonna happen. I don't get regular periods. So I think maybe I was having some hormonal stuff going on there, but I don't know, maybe I just need to, maybe it's time to wash my sheets again. Actually, I'm sure it is. My other boy cat, Licorice, has decided that he wants to be a little extra cuddly lately, and so he's been spending more time in my room, so I probably should bump up my schedule for cleaning my linens, so that's probably part of what's going on here. Okay, and part of this makeup that's going to be crucial is that we're going to double set each time. So that was a powder, now we're going to do a spray. Then we're going to go in for the next set, we're going to do a translucent set and a spray, etc. So we're gonna knock this back down, let that dry a bit, nice and refreshing there, right into my fan. I'm gonna go in with my liquid contour. Do you see this shadow that's here? I've been blessed with these very prominent cheekbones, so I automatically have a guide. So I don't really need to contour so much, but I do because I'm not going to have this ring light with me all day, every day in this perfect setup. So I'm just gonna go in with a very gentle contour here. This is a very natural color for me. And then I'm gonna go in and give myself back a little bit of a jawbone. And I like to do just a very soft one here. Now you might see some influencers contour here, but I don't necessarily love doing it there. I let my bronzing kind of shape up there. And once I find it, I'm gonna go in this sort of dense, kind of sharply cut brush. And we're just gonna go slightly up and blend that in the line there. I came in with fully damp hair to kind of give myself a little bit of natural AC, but it's drying very quickly and getting kind of in the way. I'm gonna do the same thing here, kind of give us a line and blend up. So the idea is if I block out that light, you should be able to still kind of have that suggestion of that shadow still. Adding to my own hair problem. All right, I'm popping back in here to show that I've switched hands because my right hand has started to cramp. This does blend in very easily unless you've taken a lot of time to do some explanations and you've let it dry. So I'm having a little bit of more effort to blend it in, and it's taken a little more time than it normally would. So unfortunately have needed to switch. And that happens sometimes. It is part of my two disabilities hitting me at once. But yeah, so the cramping will stop in a minute and then I will be able to move on as normal. But I don't cut these little things out because it wouldn't be fair to have a channel that, you know, talks about disabilities and then I hide my own. So, okay, we're not gonna dwell on that sort of thing. Let's go ahead and do the brows now at this stage so that they have time to set and I can give my hand a little bit of a reprieve from holding a sort of thicker brush. So y'all have seen me do this a million times. I'm not going to really go into it much, but this is the NYX brow glue in the dark brown. I'm not really great at my brows, so I'm not going to act as if I'm somebody that you want to come to for, you know, brow advice. This is all stuff that I've just picked up from watching other people's tutorials. So, all right, we're gonna move on to blush. And I'm gonna actually go into this Wild Rose cream. Actually, it's more of a balm blush from Profusion Cosmetics. And in the past, I've been using my finger because I dot this on because it is a very potent, very pigmented blush. But since I've done the 9 to Eye tutorial from Monica, I have been loving the application technique that I was using. So I'm gonna see, and this might be a bad idea going into this sort of in a rush, but let's see if I can use the same technique with this one that I was using with the purple blush. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a very light hand I'm just gonna kiss this very lightly and just gonna go in. We're gonna go higher to my cheeks and just dab this on right underneath the eye. And I am so nervous about this one that I'm gonna go in and use my mirror to see what it's looking like in real life. All right, do you see what I mean about this pigment? So I'm not gonna go in with any more. I'm just gonna use what's on my brush already to just kind of spread it out over the area. I don't feel like it's spreading as well as the other one, but maybe it's just me. Let's try the other side. So we're just kissing it and then going in right up underneath the eye and spreading it up towards the temple. Okay, I see what I was doing. So what I need to do is when I'm tapping it in, I'm gonna wanna rotate the brush. So I was getting all the pigment in just one section instead of spreading it out over the whole brush. So now this is building up quite a bit. So what I'm gonna do in a minute is I'm gonna go back in and dust over this with the brush that we used for that powder foundation. So now we've got the shape, and we've got the color on there. We'll just knock it back just a tiny bit because we are going to set this with powder blush. And now you've heard me say it a few times now that I don't believe you always have to set your creams with powder unless you need it to last for a very long day or you're going to be super hot and sweaty. And what's going to happen today? We're going to be super hot and sweaty. So we will be setting this, but because we don't need this to be super pigmented. All right, so let's just knock this back just a little. Yeah. Okay, I'm happy with that. So let's go ahead. I'm gonna jump ahead to eye makeup because I'm not sure what I want to do. Okay, so my shirt is gonna be gray and it has some turquoise and some pink. So I think I want to go with a subtle gray look. So let's jump in. I'm gonna go with, I think, maybe my Wolf Calls palette. We'll just do a subtle gray look. And I think we're just gonna do something with our fingers. Let's keep it simple. So let's go over the lid. This is our Gray All Day from the She Glam Wolf Calls palette. And this is a very soft, silky matte. There's something about this shade that just makes me think of 90s makeup. It's not frosted by any means, but it just, I don't know. Anybody else feeling this vibe? Let's kind of run with it. All right, so we've got that on. So let's go ahead. Let's take a little bit of Chill Factor into our outer third and kind of out into outer V like so. Kind of pulling it out just a little bit like that. Gonna do the same on the other eye. And I just love the versatility of makeup. You can have the most expensive products, you can have all of the fancy brushes, and then some days you just feel like doing it with your fingers, right? Who cares? Makeup is supposed to be fun. I'm not saying I have these things, mind you. I do not have the fancy brushes and expensive products because you don't have to, and that's the point, right? Okay, we've got that on. And then the last thing we're gonna do is go into Party Howl. It's a shimmer, and we're just gonna go right into the center of that lid. Gonna allow that sort of deepness of that darker shade to kind of live out in that corner. I'm not going entirely over the top of it. Gonna leave that dimension there. And then we're gonna allow that lighter gray up to live in the crease and in the inner corner for that brightness. That's all we're gonna do. We're gonna keep it simple. And see how cute it is, just that shine. All right, now we are gonna stay in there for our eyeliner, but for that we are gonna grab a brush. Actually, we'll grab this one here. Just a cute little thing there. And for a little bit of fun, I'm gonna go into Polar Excess. It is a deep gunmetal shade and it's got a little bit of sparkle in it as well. And we're gonna use this for our eyeliner. So we've already got that little sort of outer V that we pulled out with a little bit of smoke. So we're gonna go ahead and use that. So we're gonna go across the top of our lid at the lash line and just sort of drag this color across. Just nothing super precise, just a little smokiness along that lash line. And then when we get to that outer corner, we're going to start at the base of our bottom lashes and we're gonna pretend that line is gonna keep going and just flick out like boop. And then we're gonna go to where that ended. Gonna draw back to our lash line and then we're gonna draw back and color everything else in. And it's just a suggestion. We're not doing anything dark or heavy. Okay, wanna see that again? I'll go back in for the line. You don't need to see me do that. But for that little flick, or for that little wing, start at the area where the two lids connect. We're gonna act as if our bottom lash is gonna continue. So we're gonna follow that flick, go to the base of that flick, or the end of that flick, follow back to the lid, color in that space, and that's it. Just your little suggestion of a wing. Now to finish off our eye makeup look. We're going to use the same color that's on that brush, and we're going to do the exact same thing we did to the top lash underneath, and just do a little smoky line underneath the bottom lashes, like that. All right, we're going to grab our Essence Lash Princess Mascara, do a quick coat. Oh, did y'all see that? How rude. It's all right. We learned how to take care of that in the last one, as well as our little wiggle and flick technique. All right, so we're gonna let that dry. We're gonna run over quickly and grab our highlighter. All right, first we are going to use our Rose highlighter from our e.l.f. quad. We are going to top off this blush like that. We're gonna switch over to our white, pop some in here underneath our brow bone. Now we are going to blush. Don't know where that just came from, but let's go with it. This time we will use our brighter blush, just a little bit like that. Now for our last powder product, we're going to go into our bronzer palette from LA Colors. We all know how I feel about that. Today we're gonna go into sort of a medium bronze, and we're gonna take it up here to the hairline, bridge of the nose, onto the chin, underneath our contour a little bit, sort of in between the two. Okay, now I'm going to set all of this with our translucent setting powder, our kabuki brush. This is our Physicians Formula. And yes, this does knock back the highlighter a little bit, but that's okay because I wasn't wanting something super blinding for a doctor's appointment anyway. Just want a suggestion of it. Now that should be enough time for that mascara oopsie to be able to flake away. Come on. All right, good enough for a distance. I promise I'll get better at lip liner one day. This is not the day. Probably not tomorrow either. Luckily, I don't really need lip liner for the lipstick I'm gonna use, but I know it is actually something that I should use. So I'm using the NYX Professional Makeup Retractable Lip Liner. I don't know if there's a shade for this, but it's just a nude kind of pink color. All right. Oh, does this bother anyone else? It's kind of a pet peeve of mine. So my appointment today is at 1:30. They want me to get there 15 minutes early. So why don't they just set my appointment for 1:15? Like, just set my appointment for when you want me to be there, and just whatever you need me to do the extra 15 minutes for, just make that part of the appointment. I don't understand why you want me to do something extra when you can just have me be there when you need me to be there. Anyway, so I'm going in with this Superstate Vinyl Ink in the shade Cheeky. And I love these. They last literally forever. They smell like cake batter. And if I can find it, I think I will even top this off, now that I'm thinking about it, with the lip gloss from the same collection. These have like hyaluronic acid in them, I think, which is supposed to be moisturizing. But anyway, let me get this on and then I'll worry about the next step after that. Pretty is that. All right, give me a moment and I'll look for those. All right, I have a feeling that is already in my purse, so let's go ahead and finish this off. So I have the last crucial step. This is the Urban Decay All-Nighter Setting Spray. This is the splurge, but I got it in the travel size, so it's not as big of a splurge. Absolutely crucial if I want this to stay on and not sweat off. So we're gonna finish with this, and I will see you guys soon. So all right, so as always, stay safe, be kind to yourself, I love you, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye. All right, guys, I am popping back in here real quick. It is, I should have checked, about 7:40. This is the sweatiest I've been all day. After I got off camera, I went to my appointment with my gastroenterologist, and guess what? Actually, he is not saying that I have cyclical vomiting syndrome. I am fully asymptomatic at the moment, so I have been given a clean bill of health as far as gastro right now. He did not order any additional tests. He did have me sign a release so that he can get all of the tests that they did in the hospital. So we'll be going over that, but he is very happy right now. So I am happy. This is what my makeup is looking like. I did redo my lipstick before I went out to see my chiropractor. So let me get real close in here with y'all. I am a little sweaty because after we went to the chiropractor, we went to Winco. We did a full shop. I have just been carrying in all of the heavy bags. So this is me sweating. Let me dab off and we will check the makeup after I've dabbed lightly. So this is when we really test to see how well everything is held up. A little bit of transfer, but most of this is just I mean, can you beat that? Can you beat that with almost all drugstore makeup? We did have a little bit of that Urban Decay All-Nighter, but for only touching up the lipstick, because I've been, drinking, not drinking, but drinking. Not a sponsor, obviously. Even here, that's just a tiny bit of transfer on the rim. I'm almost out of this whole thing. But yeah, the funny thing that I noticed that in this lighting, I've got just a tiny flush of color on the cheeks, but every time I stepped into different lighting, that changed. In the converted hospital, it looked like I had piled on the blush. When I took photos, little baby flush, just like this. So I don't know. I think in the like bluer lighting, that's where it was. So let's go ahead, switch this up. Yeah, see the bluer lighting, it looks a little heavier. Ooh. Yellow lighting is just not cute at all. So that's kind of the in-between lighting that I use. But anyway, this was a full wear test in the hottest day of the year so far, and I think it held up pretty good for what I used, for what I've been doing. But also I mentioned the colors on my shirt. As usual, I went for Maleficent. She is my absolute favorite of the Disney villains. I have multiple shirts of the villains, but she is my favorite. So, if you ever want to get me something, t-shirts with Maleficent. You don't know what to get me, you don't want to get something off the Amazon wish list. Maleficent t-shirts, I am now about a size large, so about a 16 on top, even a 14 if it's like supposed to be loose. But yeah, anyway, that's it. So I'm going to sign off. As always, stay safe, be kind to yourself. I love you, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.